My name is Dr. Anya Sharma. I am 45 years old, and for the last 15 years, my professional life has been dedicated to deconstructing the architecture of human deception. I run a successful therapy practice and consult for legal firms on cases involving pathological lying and coercive control. My expertise is in patterns, the specific linguistic loops, the predictable justifications, the emotional algebra of manipulation. I discovered that my ex-husband, Leo, had not just relapsed into his old ways, but had evolved them on Tuesday, November 8th at 9:17 p.m. I was in my home office, backing up our 12-year-old daughter Maya's school project. A notification from an app called FamSync, a co-parenting platform Leo had insisted we use, flashed on her iPad screen. I opened it, and there, in a cascading feed of time-stamped messages, I saw it. The same pattern of lies he had used to dismantle our marriage was now being deployed with chilling precision and slight, terrifying modifications against our daughter. The promises were identical, the excuses verbatim. The man who had sworn he'd done the work in therapy was now using the language of recovery as a new, more sophisticated weapon. He wasn't just breaking a promise, he was conducting a masterclass in psychological sabotage, and our child was his star pupil. I met Leo at a university symposium on behavioral economics. He was a force of nature in a bespoke suit, a commercial real estate developer who could quote Dostoevsky and then deconstruct a competitor's portfolio with equal flair. His courtship was a targeted, overwhelming campaign. He didn't just bring me flowers, he had my favorite, obscure Peruvian lily, the Alströmeria, flown in. He remembered the name of my first childhood pet, a rabbit named Mochi, and wove it into a toast at a dinner with my colleagues. Our wedding was a $120,000 spectacle at a modern art museum because he said our love was a masterpiece that deserved the right gallery. For my 35th birthday, he gifted me a week-long silent retreat in Bhutan, saying, "I know you need to recharge your soul, not just your body." He understood me, or so I believed, on a cellular level. The first 5 years were a symphony of mutual ambition. He built skyscrapers that scarred the skyline. I built a therapy practice that healed the scars on the psyche. We had Maya. He was a present, doting father, building her elaborate pillow forts and reading her Harry Potter with different voices for every character. He was the fun, the spontaneity to my structured, planned existence. The first crack was a charge on our joint Amex for 450 pounds at a jeweler in Geneva. He was supposed to be in Frankfurt for a client meeting. When I confronted him, he didn't flinch. He produced a receipt for the same amount from a steakhouse in Frankfurt, dated the same day. The hotel must have miscategorized it, darling. You know how these international charges are. He made me feel paranoid, irrational. The second phone, a sleek black burner I found tucked behind the spare tire in his Porsche, was explained as a necessity for a high-stakes confidential land acquisition. He looked me in the eye and said, "Anya, your trust is the foundation of everything we are. Don't let your professional skepticism poison our private life." He was using my own vocation against me. The gaslighting was so elegant, it was almost artistic. The final, undeniable collapse came 3 years ago. I was cross-referencing his travel itinerary with our loyalty points for a surprise family trip. A first-class Lufthansa ticket to Bali, departing the week of my birthday, was booked in his name. The second ticket was under the name Cassandra Reed, a junior associate at his firm, 24 years old. The digital trail was a sordid novella. Uber rides to her apartment in the middle of the day, a shared Amazon Prime account where he'd bought her lingerie, a joint savings account at a digital bank I'd never heard of, Solari Bank, where he'd been siphoning off $5,000 a month. The confrontation was not explosive. It was a clinical dissection. I presented the evidence like I would a case study. He didn't crumble. He pivoted. He said our marriage had become a stifling cage of expectations. He said I was emotionally sterile and that Cassandra made him feel alive. He was the victim of my competence. The divorce was a 2-year-long trench war. He hid assets with the ingenuity of a forensic accountant, using a network of LLCs, Pangea Holdings, Titan Asset Group, to obscure millions. He presented a forged doctor's note to the court claiming a debilitating back injury to petition for reduced alimony, while his Instagram, which he thought was private, showed him heli-skiing in British Columbia. My lawyer, Barbara, a woman with the tenacity of a bulldog and the mind of a chess grandmaster, systematically dismantled his lies. We secured primary physical custody for me, with him getting alternating weekends and 1 dinner a week. The financial settlement was less than half of what he'd hidden, but it was enough. For 2 years, there was a tense, monitored peace. Leo went to therapy. He sent me articles on co-parenting with empathy and breaking generational trauma. He used the right words. I am accountable for the pain I caused. I am learning to sit with my discomfort. My goal is to be a consistent, emotionally available father for Maya. I, against every professional instinct, allowed a sliver of hope to form. For Maya's sake, I began to lower the drawbridge. I agreed to his suggestion of the FamSync app, believing a documented, neutral platform was a step forward. The discovery on November 8th was a moment of terrifying clarity. The FamSync notification was for a message about a missed piano recital. But as I scrolled, I saw the pattern emerge from the digital text like a hidden image in a stereogram. My blood ran cold. The investigation that followed was not of panic, but of profound, grim purpose. My home became a laboratory, and my daughter's well-being was the subject. That night, I used the legitimate parental monitoring software, Circle Home, to manage screen time on Maya's iPad, to perform a full device clone to an encrypted external drive. I then used a forensic-grade data extraction tool, LCOMSoft iOS Forensic Toolkit, to bypass file-by-file backups and get a physical image of the device's memory. This allowed me to recover deleted messages, app caches, and even keystroke logs. FamSync was just the front door. I discovered he had created a private server on the gaming platform Creaturecraft, a world Maya was obsessed with. Here, his avatar, Leo the Lion, would meet her avatar, Maya Moonbeam, in a private digital treehouse. All their conversations here were untraceable by standard monitoring. I recovered the logs by exploiting a vulnerability in the game's local cache. Through Barbara, I filed a motion with the court citing concerns regarding financial transparency and its impact on child support consistency. This granted us limited discovery into his primary business and personal accounts. The records painted a picture of breathtaking duplicity.
The evidence revealed a systematic campaign, a playbook with phases. Phase 1. To me, 2018. Anya, the Frankfurt client is holding me hostage. I have to stay the weekend. I'm devastated to miss your parents' anniversary. I'll make it up to you with a trip to Venice, just the 2 of us. Please don't be angry. It kills me. To Maya, 2023. Pumpkin, a monster client is demanding daddy's time this weekend. I'm heartbroken to miss your planetarium trip. I'll make it up to you, I promise. We'll go to that immersive Van Gogh exhibit. Please don't be mad at me. It wrecks me. He was teaching her that his love was conditional on her forgiveness for his absences. Phase 2. To me, during divorce. You've frozen the accounts? Anya, that's financially abusive. You know the market is crashing. You're leveraging stability to punish me. You've become so cold. To Maya, via Creaturecraft. Moonbeam, your mom's lawyers are making it impossible for me right now. The legal fees are bleeding me dry. It's so hard for me to send the extra 300 pounds for your biology camp. She doesn't understand the pressure I'm under to provide for you. The financial records showed that the week he sent that message, he had transferred 25,000 pounds to a Solari bank account and spent 8,500 pounds on a vintage Rolex Submariner. He was not just lying. He was constructing a narrative where I was the withholding parent and he was the financially strapped hero. Phase 3. This was the newest, most dangerous chapter. He had begun sharing adult worries with her. To Maya, FamSync, deleted and recovered. Don't tell your mom we talked about this, but I'm having a really hard time at work. Sometimes I feel so alone. Talking to you is the only thing that keeps me going. He was making a 12-year-old child his emotional confidant, a form of emotional incest that places an unbearable burden on a child. He was creating a loyalty bind, forcing her to choose between her parents by making her his secret keeper. This was not incompetence. It was a calculated long-term strategy of parental alienation. My professional analysis was horrifyingly clear. He was laying the psychological groundwork for Maya's adolescence. Erosion of the maternal anchor. By consistently blaming me for financial and logistical problems, he was systematically dismantling my credibility and positioning me as the source of all frustration and denial. The creation of the rescuer fantasy. He was crafting an identity as the misunderstood, financially persecuted, but fun-loving father who needed her understanding and loyalty. He was the prince in the tower, and she was being groomed to be his savior. Preparation for the custody battle. I realized this was a preemptive strike. In 2 years, when Maya turned 14, her stated preferences would carry significant weight in family court. He was programming her to state that she wanted to live with him. He wasn't just trying to win her affection, he was trying to win full custody, thereby eliminating his financial obligations to me and securing a victory over the woman who had held him accountable. For 42 days, I documented everything. I was a ghost in the machine of my own life, a silent witness to the psychological poisoning of my child. I maintained a facade of normalcy with Maya, all while my heart was breaking. I created a relational database. Each entry was a lie, tagged with metadata: date, time, platform, lie told, contradictory evidence, psychological technique used, for example, triangulation, gaslighting, parentification, and projected impact on Maya. I placed a high-fidelity, voice-activated recorder in Maya's school backpack, a legally defensible action in my state given the documented evidence of manipulation. I captured him during their scheduled phone calls. One recording had him saying, "You're so much more empathetic than your mother. You get that from me." Using the database, I generated charts and graphs. They showed a direct correlation. His manipulative communications spiked 48 hours before his child support was due, and in the week leading up to major holidays or school events where he was expected to be publicly present and accountable. I compiled a forensic psychological report. It was 284 pages. It included the raw data, my professional analysis of the damaging impact of each interaction, and a diagnosis of a consistent pattern of coercive and controlling behavior aimed at a child. It was no longer a mother's diary. It was a weapon built in the laboratory of the mind. I did not confront him face to face. I scheduled a secure video conference with him, my lawyer Barbara, and a neutral third party, a court-appointed child psychologist, Dr. Evans, whom I had forwarded the dossier to earlier. I began by playing a selected audio clip. His voice, clear and intimate. "Your mom doesn't want me to be happy. She never did. But you and I, we have a special bond she can't understand." The silence on the call was absolute. Then the sputtering began. This is an illegal recording. This is entrapment. Anya, your paranoia has reached a new low." Barbara's voice was like steel. The welfare of a minor child supersedes privacy concerns in a case of suspected emotional abuse, Mr. Sharma. The court will be very interested in the content, which demonstrates a clear pattern of parental alienation. I then spoke, my voice calm, measured, as if presenting at a conference. Leo, I am speaking to you not as your ex-wife, but as a psychological expert witness. The evidence demonstrates you are engaged in a systematic campaign to undermine my relationship with Maya and to parentify her for your own emotional and strategic needs. The 284-page report, which Dr. Evans has, details this pattern with empirical data. I laid out the terms, my voice leaving no room for negotiation. 1. You will immediately cease all communication with Maya outside of the monitored FamSync app. All existing channels, including the CreatureCraft server, are to be deleted in my presence digitally. 2. You will submit to a full psychological evaluation by a court-appointed specialist with a focus on narcissistic personality traits and manipulative disorders. 3. You will fund and fully participate in a reparative therapy program for Maya, designed to untangle the loyalty binds you have created. 4. Pending the outcome of points 2 and 3, our custody agreement is hereby suspended, replaced with professionally supervised visitation at a neutral facility. Failure to agree to these terms will result in this full dossier being filed with the court tomorrow, alongside a motion for sole legal and physical custody and a petition for a restraining order based on emotional abuse of a minor child. He was broken, the charismatic facade shattered, revealing the hollow man beneath. You've been building this case against me," he stammered. "I was documenting the damage you were inflicting on our daughter," I corrected. "The case built itself." The family court judge reviewed the dossier and was appalled. The psychological framework I provided gave the legal language a devastating clinical weight. Leo was ordered to undergo the evaluation. The therapist's report confirmed a pattern of narcissistic behavior and recommended continued supervised contact. His requests for expanded custody were not just denied, they were mocked in the judge's ruling as wholly without merit and contrary to the child's best interests. The financial veil was torn away. The judge, incensed by the evidence of the Rolex purchase versus the missed biology camp fees, imputed his income at its highest historical level and increased his child support and alimony obligations by 40%. Most importantly, the spell was broken for Maya. In her own therapy sessions, the special secrets were reframed as confusing burdens. The hero worship was replaced by a cautious, more realistic understanding. She saw the patterns herself. The healing, slow and painful, had begun. Our home is now a sanctuary of authentic emotion. The air is clear of unspoken tensions and hidden agendas. My relationship with Maya is a fortress, its walls built from the bricks of hard-won truth and mutual respect. We talk about manipulation tactics openly. I have given her the vocabulary to protect herself for a lifetime. She is learning that love should not feel like a secret, or a burden, or a transaction. This was never about vengeance. It was about vaccination. I could not shield her from all of life's pain, but I could inoculate her against the specific pathogen her father represented. I showed her the blueprint of his deception so she would never again be trapped in its architecture. My victory was not in his humiliation, but in her empowered, clear-eyed resilience. I had not just saved her from him, I had armed her for the world. If this story of a mother using her knowledge to protect her child's mind resonated with you, Please hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories about the patterns of betrayal and the architecture of justice.